are officially back on the air. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Western Star Movie Podcast. It is back. And this is the new time, Mondays at 2 to 3, not Wednesdays anymore, which was the go around 2 semesters in a row. We're back. Lots of things happened, lots of things changed, lots of crazy things in the world, some things in TV. Got a lot to talk about. For instance, just a little bit of a welcome back, for us. There was some great bid movies coming out this summer that I loved, some that I hated. Bid movies with bid budgets bombed badly in the box office, which is surprising. Indiana Jones, all those. Um, a new show to piqued my interest in Substitution of the Wilds being canceled, which is one of my favorites ever. Movies being delayed due to the strikes, which is insanity, and just more to come. And a show that was brought back into film on Netflix. It's not the Wilds, it's something else, but we'll talk about that later. But anyways, we're getting into the show at hand. So it's been a long couple months. A lot of things have happened, and so I feel like the best way to cope with that is talk about what first up is what summer had to offer. A lot. Summer had a lot to live up to because a lot of movies were projected to be really big ones. A lot of big budgets. A lot of big budgets. Currently, Fast X takes the cake with $340 million. That movie couldn't pass 800 million worldwide. It actually didn't do well in the United States. Uh, it grossed, if I'm looking up this directly, just barely over $700 million. Yeah, $704 million, which is not where they wanted to be, especially when the last movie cost less and grossed more, which is insane. Super Mario Bros. Well, that came out. We know it hit $1 billion, but Barbie became the biggest movie of the year. Surprise, surprise, grossing $1.416 billion, which is crazy because I'm still one of the many people that have not seen it. And you know, everybody says it's good. A lot of people, a lot of divisive thoughts on that. A lot of certain things. Oppenheimer became a stunner, grossing $900 million. It's currently at $912 million worldwide. It has passed every DC and Marvel film right now. Guardians was a smash hit, took in $845 million. Spider-Verse, fantastic with 689, just short of 700. The Little Mermaid, we'll get into the Little Mermaid a little bit in this. Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning, although didn't pass the $600 million mark, was able to recoup it with the COVID delays, and apparently they used all that, which was like $71 million, so it actually turned a profit. Elemental became the surprise, where it looked like it was about to fail and flop hard, but it didn't. Grossed over $400 million. $484 million. Meg 2, The Trench made a lot of money. That movie was not good. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, a movie with an insane amount of budget and anticipation before the movie came out, but it premiered at Cannes, got mixed reviews, and well, the rest was history. The Flash with two Batman people, say myself there, bombed badly with projections as high as $200 million, a loss, huge loss for Warner Brothers. Currently, right now, Insidious: The Red Door is the highest grossing horror movie with $188 million. That could change with Five Nights at Freddy's, which could pass that. A lot of anticipation on that movie. A lot. What we talked about, Shazam. Blue Beetle is yet again another film in the So-called DC struggle era of movies to bomb only made $119 million in its fifth weekend. Haunted Mansion is going to be a big one for Disney. It grossed under the budget, $150 million, and made 106. And that's the kind of thing we're going to talk about. Why was it that movies like Oppenheimer, Barbie, Spider-Verse made all this money with such low budgets, yet when we talk about a movie like Mission Impossible, Little Mermaid, Indiana Jones, they had massive budgets and people thought, oh, they're going to go see this spectacle, yet it's not always the best looking. And here's the thing, there's an exception with Mission Impossible, but with The Little Mermaid and Indiana Jones, a lot of people didn't really like the film. Didn't appeal to them. Like some people thought, oh, we're getting another Indiana Jones movie. Who cares? And Little Mermaid remake. Who cares? Yet Little Mermaid made over half $1 billion, not a whole $1 billion, and Indiana Jones and Dial of Destiny flopped on its face. Which is why Barbie is a big hit. Mario Bros is different. Is a different story because Mario Brothers, obviously, there's a lot of kids that go see this, and families spend money. So the rewatchability of that. And Oppenheimer made over $900 million, and that movie's 3 hours long. And it's like, well, that debunks every theory that a long movie doesn't make a lot of money. You can ask that in Avengers Endgame. That is false. And Titanic, which I realize is 3 hours and 12 minutes long, which is insane to me. So you have all this money, you give it to a studio that's like, we're gonna make this. Some of it doesn't look good. Some of the CGI doesn't look good. So it's like, what's with all the money? Is it because of the actors that are being put on screen? Is it the places that we film? Which there is no excuse, like Mission Impossible should have made more money, but it didn't. And I have a feeling that if it was moved up a day, if it was moved up to like July 5th or July 7th instead of July 14th, 2 weeks before Barbenheimer comes out, it would have made a couple more money. It would have made a little bit more. You know? It's not that's not at all what we have now. We have a movie that fell short of expectations because Barbenheimer was such a big hit. Combined, Barbenheimer makes $2.4 billion in the box office, which is insane. For some reason, that's what everybody saw this summer, which is true. Even though I have still not seen Barbie. I know it's sad. I'm one of those people. We're gonna check it out, maybe. Um, in other news, Elemental became the surprise of the year because you look back at Pixar's record and you got hit after hit after hit, and then ever since COVID, they were like, well, this movie's in theaters, but COVID's hitting, so we're gonna pull it out, and then it was straight to video. And then Soul happened in December 2020, and then it was straight to Disney Plus because that was when studios were like, "Do we still delay movies even though people aren't going back to the theaters?" That's when they were still delaying films. And then 2021 hits with Luca on my birthday, and it was supposed to be theaters, and then they went straight to Disney Plus. They could have gone the simultaneous day-to-day theaters and Disney Plus. They didn't want to do that. And then Turning Red, which was in 2022, which was, oh, this is perfect. We're finally here, and then they do the Disney Plus thing. And then Pixar came out with Lightyear, which was their first major theatrical release Pixar film. And that one bombed massively, fell flat. $200 million budgets, again, spending all this money on Pixar animation. When you have Spider-Verse looking incredible with $100 million. So double the amount, fails to make $300 million or 250, made 226. And now we have Elemental, which is a movie that looked like it was going to be a disaster from the start. This movie looked like it was going to make at least $175 million. But then some rewatchability, some overseas help made it pull up to $485 million, which is insane. A movie like The Flash. which has gotten a lot of people talking about it. Some people out there love it. Some people out there are like, it's good, but it's not great. Some people are like, eh. Some people think it's bad. And it bombed with two. Not just that, two. With the return of Michael Keaton as Batman, it somehow lost Warner Brothers almost $200 million, which is insane. You talked about a film that has been in development hell for since like 2018. This movie was supposed to be out, and they did a whole thing back in 2015 or 2016 where they were like showing all the DC characters and movies that were going to be coming out. And I swear I remember that the Flash was one that was like, okay, they're going to release it. Comes out March 16th, 2018. That's when I was in high school. Like, this movie was supposed to come out when I was in high school, and now I'm talking about it 5 years later, or 4 years later, 5 years later, right? Yeah, 5 years later, and it bombed badly. Like, not just badly, this is a colossal failure. Like, this is a bad sign for Warner Brothers. I mean, Shazam, I even talked to who who's that? Who's that? Okay. I even talked to Anthony and Issa, who I'm working on another podcast on, which, by the way, I got to figure that out because it's during the class time I have on Wednesdays, but we'll talk about that later. I talked about with Torelli how Shazam, like, listen, they need Shazam to make at least over the budget. Could it make $150 million worldwide, which is blasphemy. Blasphemy. It could have made $150 million worldwide, which tells to tell you that it's not superhero fatigue, it's not DC fatigue. It's just that the movie was just not good. I didn't like it. It was okay. Actually, yeah, it was fine. They did too much. The Flash, though, too much hype. And I'm you always want to go in a movie surprised. You always want to go in like, I don't want to hear from anybody. I want to go in with my own opinion and see it for myself. And when I say that this movie was overhyped, because it wasn't great. It was good. It was just good. That's it. That's the only way I can describe this movie as. CGI is something else. It's not good. And director claims, oh, it's supposed to look like that because he's in a speed world or something. But we all know $200 million does not look like that. $200 million is like in real life, like a mansion, like and like I would say two Lamborghinis. Or, I don't know how much they cost. But in terms of movies, we're looking at like a Marvel film. This cost the amount as a Marvel film, and it looks like this. Some of the fight sequences didn't look good. There's a scene that I'm sure many people have seen where he pokes out of a portal and his head's floating. The suit's CGI. I saw behind the scenes footage. The CGI is a suit. It's just it's weird, but it's good weird if you can believe it in a way. But regardless, it took a huge drop. Could have made $300 million. To this day, no DC film has made over $400 million. Not Black Adam, not the first Shazam, which was in post-pandemic, pre-pandemic era, and it did break even because of the low budget. But Shazam, Flash, Blue Beetle, none of them have opened. Wonder Woman 1984, Birds of Prey. I forgot those two exist. They're not good either. Can't say the word I want, but they're not good either. But here's the thing. There's no excuse for Aquaman. You got Christmas time. You got movies make a lot of money during Christmas time if they're good big releases. Look at Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, $484 million worldwide. Avatar, like freaking $2 billion. I can look at the year before that. Um, Spider-Man, $1.9 billion. Saint 2, another animation film, $460 million worldwide. There is absolutely no freaking excuse that Aquaman does not cross $400 million. There is no excuse for that movie to not cross $400 million. worldwide. If it doesn't cross $400 million, they failed. They completely failed the industry. If it doesn't cross 400 million, hell, if it doesn't cross $300 million in 2 weeks, because overseas the first movie made like over 800. There's no excuse. If this movie doesn't cross 300 by second weekend of release, it's over. You screwed up. So now let's talk about, well, what did you like over the summer? What did you watch that you thought was good? And so I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about the 5 movies that I think were the best of the summer and the 5 not so good movies of the summer. Again, personal opinions. And I'm going to talk about, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I have a list. Okay, I'm going to talk about this. Let's get started. I have five honorable mentions I'm going to talk about. Movies that I recommend people go see them watch, which I think were really good, that appealed to me. First one is Nimona. This is a Netflix animation movie that was supposed to be released by 20th Century and Blue Sky. And some of you guys know Blue Sky is dead. They're dead. The company's gone. So this movie got shelved for years. And then Netflix was like, you know what? We're going to pick it up and we're going to release this thing. And I thought it was pretty good. Next up is Extraction 2. I love the first Extraction movie. I think this movie might be better. Great, just overall action, stunts are amazing. I mean, just amazing stunts. Chris Hemsworth is so good. And the director, ironically, is one of the directors or he's a stunt coordinator on some of the Avengers movies, which is even better. So he knows how these stunts work. He knows how to make good action sequences. There's a whole 21-minute one take, which is just incredible. I love it. Next one is the movie that I just talked about last weekend well, actually, no, I didn't, because I talked about the other movie I saw on Cinema Day, and that's Strays. So I'm talking about the other movie I saw on Cinema Day, and it's TMNT Mutant Mayhem. Gonna be real. I didn't really think I wanted to see this one because I just think the whole idea, well, no, I wanted to see it, but no, I just wanted to review it. But like, I'm old enough now; it's not my thing. And plus, the past few Ninja Turtles movies have not delivered. So what does this one have? It has a lot to offer. Starts stunning animation. Seth Rogen knows how to make jokes that work for kids as well as families, which is nice. So, this movie TMNT is there. Next one is Joyride. This is a comedy that me and my father both looked at each other and said, "Yeah, we gotta see that," because it looked hilarious. It was awesome, so funny, great. It's a great comedy. If you haven't checked out Joyride, I think it's gonna be available on like Peacock or something. Or no, it's not, because it's not Universal. It's Lionsgate. So I don't know when. I don't know what streaming company has this one. But whatever does, watch Joyride. It's hilarious. And then the last movie, this is personal opinion, because I know a lot of people have problems with it. I know a lot of people had controversy for it. There's a lot of certain agendas and weird things going on in the world that we have to deal with. But I don't care. I thought the Little Mermaid remake was amazing. It's great. We both walked out of the theater saying, I'm kind of glad we watched the Little Mermaid remake because it was so good. It was such a crowd pleaser. It was worth going to see this movie brought back. And it did struggle. It did struggle in the box office, but it made over $500 million, which was worth it. It was worth the $500 million that it did, and it became profitable. And I really thought this movie could have made $1 billion if overseas was it ruining this thing. Because review bombing and certain things you might know that I'm not going to say, but that's the world we live in. That's what we have to do. I mean, those are the same people that probably don't wanted to go see The Flash because Ezra Miller. So those are my 5 honorable mentions: Joyride, Little Mermaid, TMNT, Extraction, Nimona. And I know what? I'm actually going to put another one up here: Gran Turismo. I just got watched Gran Turismo yesterday. It's really good. All right, now we're gonna get into the list. This is the top best list, and I'm gonna let you know if 5 of these movies are in my top 10 best of the year. Like the top 5 best movies of the summer are also in like the top 6 movies that I have right now. So let's get into that. 5 is Guardians Volume 3. This had me nervous because of, man, Marvel hasn't been on the great track record. They haven't made $1 billion since Spider-Man. Still looks like they're not going to make $1 billion. Now, Deadpool, if Deadpool releases in May of next year, this movie could make $1 billion. This film, I think, was the one that's it didn't save Marvel, but like currently right now, if this movie were to suck, then it would have been like, no, Marvel's dead. But it wasn't. James Gunn delivered a crowd pleasing finale for this franchise. This is might be the best trilogy of films other than the Captain America movies. Well, those are not trilogies. There's a fourth movie coming out, but in terms of a trilogy, like Iron Man isn't really good because 2 and 3 suck. And what else do you got? You got that's it. That's it. There's nothing else. So you got Iron Man, Thor's not a trilogy. The Avengers isn't a trilogy. Marvel's is not a trilogy. Again, so like Spider-Man. I would say no, it's better than Spider-Man. It's the best Marvel trilogy. It was fresh, it was unique, it was a heartbreaking movie. It was a very, you know, impactful film, as deals with a lot of emotions. It deals with, this idea of family and how, we have to let go of things even if we want them to stay. It's a very touching film. It's funny. Again, the James Gunn humor in there, it works. It does work. The villain was fantastic. I would say the negative is like, the Adam Warlock anticipation wasn't really there. It was there, but it wasn't as big as I feel like it could have been, which is there. So yeah, that's Guardians. All right, number 4 is it's tough because I might want to change. I actually might want to change this right now. No, I'm not going to change it. Actually, you know what? I might. So I'm going to change this right now, and I'm going to say that my number 4 best movie of the summer is I might get flat, but it's Spider-Verse. It's Spider-Verse. And it's weird because I just changed it and I think I liked another movie over this one more. But here's the thing. Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse. You can paint a picture and it still when like you can paint like an artist here can or like Da Vinci could paint a picture and it couldn't look as good as this. I mean, this animation is top notch, and it really makes you wonder, like, what's the next level of animation that's out there? We got the Likey animation, which is like the stop motion. We got the Pixar, we got the Disney. What is next for animation other than this? It's incredible. The story of this movie is so good. It's like there's a spider crew, there's a group of spider people, but we live by a certain thing. You have to save one person and one person only. It's like, well, I don't want to do that. I don't want to save one person. I want to save I want to save them all. And it's canon, which brought the meme up. It's a canon event. A lot of memes. So you can make the argument like, well, it's just style over substance, or style over substance, which no, it's not. The story and the characters, the emotions work in this movie. Like Into was good, like really good. Like it's a great film, and the emotion there was great, but the dynamics in this movie work better. Like Gwen and Miles' relationship works better, I feel like, than Peter B and Miles' relationship in the first one. And that could be controversial. Again, the animation, it is a part one, which is why I had to change it, because I'm like, yeah, it is a part one, and it leaves you on that cliffhanger, because nothing's really solved right now. And so, what do we do? You had to go do that, I would say. So next up, yeah. So again, this is the one that I had to change for. Again, I'm sorry, hold on. This is the one that I had to change because, like, I thought about it. The more I thought of, like, I had to think, like, the more I think about this, and like, I had to really be like, you know what? I think this is better than Spider Verse. So, but which comes as a shock to many people, including myself. Oh, why is it doing this now? Oh, it's probably because which might come as a shock again, because this movie, I had no idea this movie would be this as good as it is, but it's a movie called Talk to Me. You don't know what this is. This is an A24 horror film that I saw the trailer for, and I'm like, that looks creepy. It looks creepy. And this was so the story behind this is I could have there were two options, actually three options, where I hadn't seen Barbie until this movie came out. I hadn't seen Haunted Mansion, which I still have not seen, and I might do a review on that for October. And I haven't seen Talk to Me. So I was like, we're in Alabama because I'm helping my sister move into her apartment. And I'm thinking, like, okay, let's do a movie break. Which movie do I see? And I'm like, you know what? Let's do Talk to Me. And I'm so glad I got there because I didn't know where else I would have gotten to see it. It's a fantastic horror film. It's this to me is what horror really is. It's like original concepts, but they have a little bit of taste, they have a little bit of similarity, and they work. They're not stupid. They're not like teenage horror movies where everybody's doing something stupid. You know, it works. It works for this type of film. And this was directed by Raka Raka YouTubers. So you have great acting. So I just discovered, like, Sophia Wilde is incredible in this movie, and it it's a weird thing because it's about, like, they take this hand they found, and, like, you can touch it and you can speak to dead people, and so it's like, talk to me, I let you in, and then they're talking, and then they do, like, a lot of weird nonsense. It's a really well executed movie, well shot, well acted, well scared. The ending, it's going to be polarizing. I'll tell you right now, it's going to be polarizing for some people, but honestly, it works. It works for the movie that we have, in my opinion. Like this, it works for what we have because it kind of made sense, you know. Um, Even though I do think, like, oh, certain things could have been made, I don't think so. I think, or other people would say, like, well, it's an A24 film, so it's going to be weird, but it's not weird. It's really not a weird movie. It's not like these other A24 films that are just like stupid and just nonsensical, that are just style over substance. Because a lot of them are, even though they have great reviews and people love them, just style over substance. This isn't style over substance. This is a normal looking horror film with a great twist. This is an Australian horror film, and it's fantastic. I think it's better than Spider Verse. And I had to make a little bit of a change before doing this. For doing this, so yeah. So now the top two. There's two more movies left that I have to talk about. Number one, or number two. So let's get into the top two. Number two, and I thought hard about this one. Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part One, which got absolutely buried by Barbenheimer, but I don't care. This movie's awesome. It's great. It's another one. It's another hit run, home run, hit and run, home run for Tom Cruise. The dude is making movies for the people, for the fans. It's amazing. The action sequences themselves are great. They're not overstuffed with CGI. It's all practical stunts that this guy knows how to do, and it's amazing. You watch and you're just like in awe. It's like that this is a movie that's made for audiences to just enjoy and to, relax and, just watch something good, and that's what this is. It's well made. It never felt boring. It's 2 hours and 43 minutes long. It never feels like that. It never feels boring. It's always it's always this notion that movies are just boring, and that's it. Where in reality, it's nothing like that. It's all just it's amazing. And I am so happy that at least this movie made somewhat of a profit, you know, because the best movie of the summer, and probably right now, as I have it, the best movie of the year, it did do better the following weekend. And I didn't see Barbie. It's Oppenheimer. It's Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer is the best movie of the year. This to me is really what cinema is about. This is a story that has been trying to be brought to the big screen, and only a guy like Nolan can bring it. Nolan can do it, and it's amazing. This thing, it's a powerful, well acted, well shot, and choreographed drama and epic of this guy who just wanted to make a bomb and not worrying about killing people. And the scenes, they mean something. The quotes are important. You know, it's like, oh, you expect like, oh, it's gonna be just a bunch of war scenes with the nuke. It's not. It's a long drama, and it works. It never feels like 3 hours long. It feels like 2 hours and 30. It's just, it's so good, and I cannot believe how impressed I was. Like the moment I left the theater, I was like, yeah, this is it. This is gonna be the best one. And I said it. And I said it with pride. I said it absolutely with pride. And I meant it. So now let's get into the worst. Let me see how I. Okay, I got mine. So what what are the best worst movies of the summer? There's five. So I didn't like really think. I think there were a lot of bad movies, but to me, the worst movies of summer, they're more of like, let me see, they're more of like, movies that maybe some people haven't heard of. Um, but they're not good, and I recommend don't seeing them. And I'm going to give you help. This is help for all of you to not see these a lot of decision words, and I'm not saying, but they're not good, to say the least. So let's get started with the first one. Number five, fifth worst movie of the summer goes to Heart of Stone, a Netflix original starring Gal Gadot, where they throw a bunch of money and a big movie star at the screen on Netflix and make another generic action movie. It's the same that you've seen from every single one of these other movies, where you think, "Oh, this is a action. This person's an action star. They can do something cool." And then you're just watching it, and you're like, "It's just kind of something we've seen before." It's like Mission Impossible ripoff. And it's weird because one of the producers did Mission Impossible directing part one this year. So, and it's all a bunch of cliches. The jokes don't work. Some CGI that's noticeable. It's all the characters are wooden. It's everything you've seen before from these Netflix movies, and they don't work out. They don't work. All right, number four. I'm daring nobody heard of this one. This is a Hidden Strike. It's on Netflix right now. This is a movie that got released. It's like a Chinese distributed film starring Jackie Chan and John Cena. I'm gonna stop and let you think about that. Stars Jackie Chan and John Cena. And it is this like dystopian world where there's this transport that's moving and these bad guys want something, and it's like I forgot the movie, even the plot of it, but all I remember is it was boring. It's an hour, it's under 2 hours, but it feels so long and so stupid. It just it's a dumb movie. Like, it features some of the worst green screen and CGI I've seen this year. It is very stereotypical with the villains and the way people talk. Clearly nobody who made this movie watched how actual humans speak. The jokes don't work. Again, it's all just bland action. It's on Netflix. There's a lot of companies that are on this. Like the moment the movie starts, it's like all these company names are on screen. It's like there's like 10 in a row. Like at least 10, like more than 10. At most 10. And it's like what is this? Okay. Number three. Meg 2 The Trench. This movie's awful. It's not good. It is a movie. Now, I didn't have a problem with the first man because I knew what it was and it focused on the shark. And it had shark moments. Those moments were cool. And it had good guys, it had the bad shark, and it had greedy corporates, and then it just stopped, and then it just focused on the sharking people. This doesn't have that. Instead, it's like, let's make a movie about mining corporations and conspiracy rather than talking about, oh yeah, the sharks are out there too. Like that's the whole movie. It's like, let's just make a film about shark about the let's just like have Jason Statham fight a bunch of mercenaries and you know double espionage, betrayal people, and just have it be really silly, and it's just all terrible. It's terrible. I mean, the visuals don't look good, the story is clunky, the writing is so bad. You can tell what people are going to say from like a mile away. The twists in turn, the villains in this movie are laughable. There's a villain who ends up being like one of the characters is like a nice sweet girl, ends up being one of the villains, and is like a girlfriend of like the main bad guy mercenary. And the twist, and then the acting from it's just all terrible. And it really focuses on the shark. And the only thing I can say that's really good is that Dwayne or Jason Statham is it loves to do these movies. He brings the charisma. Other than that, the movie's bad. Number two, The Outlaws. Again, a movie no one heard of, but it's a Netflix comedy in which Adam Devine basically goes to this. Basically, he's marrying his girlfriend and he hasn't met his parents. And so the dude's like, I'm gonna meet their parents and I'm a bank. He manages bank security and he realizes that her parents are bank robbers because they rob his bank. And now he's stuck in a whole war where I am literally helping you to rob a bank and I have to give money to this bad guy who, by the way, is the mother of one of the my favorite character in the Wilds, which is even worse. She's stuck in this movie, and it's just it's like the cringiest comedy. It's like the comedy that you don't want to laugh at, but you gotta laugh. It's like the sitcoms nowadays on like Nickelodeon and Disney Channel where the audience members are like where like you can tell like they use the same sound of like the audience laughing and they're them going like oh and clapping like they press the button over and over and over again to make people think oh it's a sitcom. That's this movie. It's like you have to press it to be like oh no I'm laughing, don't worry, it's funny. It's not funny. It's not funny. Nothing is funny about this movie. It's all cringe. And Adam Devine is so annoying in this film. Pierce Brosnan and Michael Rooker are the two saving graces of this movie. If they were not in this film, this would have been an F. But I gave it a D minus. It's bad. It's bad. But what was the worst movie of the summer? And I'm gonna guess nobody heard this movie. If you want to say it, I'll say it. It's my fault that I brought up this movie because it's actually no, it's my fault. It's my fault. If you haven't done the joke yet, the movie is called My Fault. This movie is a Spanish film on Prime Video. And I had no idea what this one was, but I like Instagram recommends these dumb things anyway. So like it's whatever. And plus when I was rewatching The Wilds, just because I rewatch it all the time. It's a goat. It's a goat show. I noticed that this is a new movie. I'm like, okay, what is this? And I had time. I had nothing to do, so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. And I put it in, and I immediately regret my decision. I regret it. It was bad. And I can't say again. I wish this was unhinged, but I'm being safe. It's bad. It's bad. It's really bad. It's the type of bad that you're like, it's not so bad that it's cringy. It's so bad that it's boring. Like this in the Med, it's like it's so bad. They're boring films to watch. This thing's almost 2 hours long. Spanish. So the idea here's why it's bad. Okay, first of all, if I pitch you, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pitch you how this movie's created, and then I'm gonna you get an idea. Hopefully, you'll get an idea. So, someone out there has an account on Wattpad. This is how I found out this movie, this is real. This is on the Wikipedia, where you can create stories of your own. Someone out there is like, okay, here's the story. So a girl moves in with her stepfather because the mother, they're kind of like married now, so they're a family. And the stepfather has a son, so it's like a stepbrother now. It's pretty normal. Okay, it's a family. It's a family drama. What's is it? Just wait. And obviously, there's a lot of drugs and a lot of weird nudity. It's R-rated. Okay, so that's fine. They kind of find people to hang out with, and then and then and then it's a twist of this movie. The twist that's the reason why they're in love with each other. That's it. Someone made a story where a stepbrother and a stepsister fell in love with each other. Now it's bad enough. Like, okay, it's whatever you want to say. Okay, it's fine. What's the big deal? It's the story seems weird. Okay, so how the idea? It's whatever you want to say. You can say whatever. How is it executed? Is it executed good? No, no, it's not. At a point, they bring up like this Fast and the Furious type of ripoff where they're racing each other, and the main twist, the main bad guy, apparently, like it's crazy. I have to review this film when I get the chance because the things that are happening in this film, because I don't want to lose my time, but um, it's bad. The acting, I can't judge the acting because it's subtitles in Spanish, so they're probably committing to it, but I can tell the writing that's on screen, it's really bad. Like one of the lines of dialogue is, "You only need my kisses." That's it. No, no, you need Jesus. That's it's bad. It's bad. It's an awful. It was so bad. It's 2 hours long. It's almost 2 hours, and there's another one coming out that I have no idea when. So, you, I listen. I'm gonna have to do it. I'm gonna brace myself. So that is it. That is the those are, in my opinion, the best and worst movies of the summer. Now let's talk about um, son of a, it did it again. I don't know why it does this on notes where it's like, oh, it just, whatever. Probably because I'm not. Yeah, I don't know why. Okay. Um. So so I had to cope with the idea that my favorite show, The Wilds, is no longer. I'm making stuff, which brings me into my next topic. Actually, two topics now, where actors or movie studios are refusing to pay writers. Now there's an actor strike, which makes it worse because movies are now not as they're not performing it. Well, no, they're just like they just there. Some people are delay movies, which tells you one thing: the strike needs to stop. So both sides need to stop acting silly. You know, I feel like because an actor strike really damages this now because now not only is it like some people are like, and there's gonna be some of those people out there that are gonna be like, well, this movie bombed because they didn't promote the film. There's a strike going on. And then they're probably gonna be like, well, that's because they just didn't want they went on strike. It's their fault. No, it's not. I mean, you could say that, but not me. But no, a lot of movies are being delayed. Um, Dune is now officially a 2024 movie. Craven is a 2024 August release, which is supposed to come out on October 6th, 2023. And now it's being pushed back to August 30th. Um, Speaking of, Taylor Swift doesn't need to do that because she got a concert movie that's already shattering pre-sales. Please. And now you have, you had to, she made Exorcist Believer move up a date from Friday the 13th. A movie that we could have Friday the 13th on. Like, why do you put it on? Put it in January or February. There's no big releases happening. Why are you putting it there? It was a perfect release day, Friday the 13th. Exorcist, that sounds awesome. It doesn't. And that bugs me. But moving into my topic, I was saying is that because The Wilds was canceled, I had to cope with that. Like, what show is going to get me, like, I'm going to watch The Wilds again, but there has to be another show here. And listen, I've been loving Sex Education. There's a funny show on Netflix. It's hilarious. But I did watch The Summer I Turned Pretty, which is a show that's based off of a book that I had no idea was based off of a book. I thought it was the original concept created by Jenny Han, who created the show, and I really like the show a lot. It's really cool. I just finished season 2, And it kind of leaves you on a cliffhanger too, but like not in a way where it's like, oh, not oh wait. But again, because studios aren't paying, this show will be delayed to 2025, not 2024. That bugs me for studios because they're willing to delay their movies but not pay. What? And see, here's the thing. Then that those delays, they increase money because now you have to do marketing. It's like, oh, we put on all the marketing on this movie now, and now it's being delayed. Oh, okay, let's do it again. So whatever you want. I think the show is really fun. It's funny. It's kind of relatable. It features a lot of songs that a lot of people know. You know, a lot of like the pop songs and stuff. Listen, when I'm jamming on Discord or Xbox, I have a Spotify account. I pop this in. It's banging. It works. So there's a Wild soundtrack. Um, but this was a good substitute. Again, which goes back, and I just realized this. I was talking about this earlier. Which goes back to the fact that I think I talked about this last semester, where a show called Warrior Nun, which was really popular on Netflix, got canceled. And for the longest time, people were like, "Save Warrior Nun," and there was this whole Change.org thing. Well, guess what? They're bringing it back in films, and they're not going to bring back the Wilds. Wow, that pisses me off. That you're going to bring back a show on Netflix, and Netflix is known for canceling their shows. Netflix is known for canceling good shows, and they're going to bring it back for three, three feature length films. By the way, three, not one, not two, three films, which bugs me. I, which bugs me. It's so concerning to me. And Prime Video is a Prime Video is a good streaming platform. I don't understand what the deal is, why they can't continue a good original story. It's an original story. It's not based off of a book. It's not based off of a movie. It's an original concept. And they just get rid of it. And they're like, nope, that's what we need. We need to pay $200 million on the Rings of Power. Yeah, get out of here. Get out of here, Prime Video. You don't know what you're doing. Netflix knows what they're doing now. Saving that show, you're driving yourself down into the well. It's not looking good. But no, that's really all I got to say. I mean, again, it depends on what you do. Again, I will say that it has been a weird summer. And now the fall happens and you don't know what to expect. Like, here are some of my movies that I'm looking forward to for before I have to end it. Like, here are some of the movies I'm looking forward to this fall. The Creator, which comes out into next weekend. Um, Killers of the Flower Moon, a Martin Scorsese film. Exorcist Believer. Five Nights at Freddy's, which is I I don't know if I'm going to go see that in the theater because I know there's going to be people that are going to be overreactive as hell because I've been dealing with a lot of people that are being rude and selfish in theaters recently, and I just talked about it on the Issa podcast, and I just had it done with the Haunting in Venice movie. I went and there was this bunch of teenagers in the back that had to be like, "Oh, we're gonna talk and make noises," and my dad told them to like knock it off. They still want to do that. I told one of them shh, and one of them was like shh. So before the movie ends, they're walking down. They're walking down because they're like, this movie's not good. They waited an hour and 30 to do that. And they looked at me. And I was just like, I just gave them the finger. I was like, bye-bye. You pay for it, you watch it, and you shut up. Anyways, that happened. So I don't know. I'm gonna try to save to get a Peacock account. But again, if I want to see the movie, I want to see it early in the afternoon. Or in the city. Because I can't go to these local places now. This happened in Regal, I think, once with this weird cracked lady next to me while I was watching a horror movie. This happened to me in Ridge Hill when I was no, not Ridge Hill, Portchester when I was watching this kind of horror movie. So I don't know where I'm going to go see it. I don't know where. I don't know how. If I have a Peacock account, it's free. But again, I have no idea. Then in November, Napoleon, the Ridley Scott film, which was awesome. Wonka in December, which is a origin story from the directors of the Paddington movies, which is awesome. Those movies are great. And finally, Rebel Moon, a Zack Snyder film. Those are my opinions. So, creator, Killers, Five Nights at Freddy's, Exorcist, Napoleon, Wonka, Rebel Moon. Those are my opinion. Those are my picks for anticipated. Again, I don't know about the Marvels. I don't know about Hunger Games. I don't know about Aquaman. Again, these are opinions, but they could change if we get more trailers and more info, stuff like that. So I think I'm gonna wrap it up here. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna wrap it up here. That is my this the first podcast of the spring, fall, man. They just some of this is every Tuesday or when Monday at 2, which is kind of perfect because it's a weekend recap. So there you go. Next weekend I will bring you. I'm gonna try to bring Expendables 4, and I will see Barbie. I'm gonna try to bring it to you, and I'll give you my opinion. So there you guys have it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Tune in next weekend or next week, same time. Also, thank you for watching. Subscribe to the WIUR so much. This is Western Star Stein